So like every music maker out there, I started my music production journey in a bedroom just like this. 20 years later, after a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I have my own studio that I've built with my bare hands. And I feel like I've been making the best music that I ever have. So how did I go from a beginner bedroom music producer with no equipment, no money, to having this dream music studio, being a professional musician that earns an income from what he makes? The honest and real truth about me getting from where I was to where I am now was patience, dedication, and to be real, financing is my best friend, I'm gonna tell you. So this was my first bedroom, and this is really where the music production started, with a desk right here that you can barely fit anything on. And actually, instead of this one bed, this is actually part of a triple bunk that we had in this room, because we would share this with my little brother, my twin brother, and myself. And all we had to work off of was this monstrosity, an old Dell computer. As you can see, there's cobwebs all around it because this thing is really old. We've had it since I think the late 90s, and this used to be my mom's computer that we would eventually turn into a music production powerhouse. Not really. We also didn't have any kind of MIDI controller, but you can turn your keyboard into a piano basically. So a very humble setup, and the microphone that we used to record vocals looked like a pencil because we didn't have an audio interface and none of that fancy stuff. One of the basic like stock programs for recording your voice was this thing called Sound Recorder. I don't know if that still exists. Record with that rinky-dink computer mic vocals to the beats that we would make. It was a pretty horrible experience, but it was fun back in the day because it was our first taste, my first taste at writing and making your own songs. But I ended up getting this program, or cracking this program called Acid Pro. I don't think we had an official version of it, and this is like the beginning story for any kind of music producer out there. Most people are gonna crack their software. I probably shouldn't be admitting this, but this was like 20 years ago. So I would use this new software to record what I thought was going to be my very first album. And actually, I think I do still have some of that music around. Let me see if I can find it. To be honest, I don't even know if I have a CD player that can still play these. I might have one at the office. So we'll see if I can hook that up to my MacBook and get access to some of this music so that you can actually hear what some of my earlier stuff sounded like. This is how you know I'm a 90s baby. 20 boobs, Tomb Raider. I wonder if this still works. Waves plugins that I didn't know how to use at the time, long before subscriptions. Pretty sure this was our copy of FL Studio and a few other pieces of software. Obviously, this is not an official CD. It is a burnt CD. So that's how you know it wasn't up to code. Ooh, we're getting into some experimental stuff. This was a rock band that I was trying to make, where I sampled a bunch of different rock bands because I couldn't play guitar and I didn't have a guitar to play. So I made rock songs using samples from other rock songs. See if it works. There it is. Snap. Let's go.
Tonight's story is somewhat unique and calls for
Michael Jackson intro. Yo, that hi-hat, or that cymbal rather, is horrible. It doesn't even match the same sound quality as everything else. But I was working with what I had, you know? Now, what I want to listen to is Enzo pre-production tracks 1.2, all words.
Why must life treat me this way? To where I don't wanna wake up the next day. I tried to talk to Jesus, I tried to pray, but right now things just seem so great.
Even for the time period, this sounds dated. Now you go from something like this to what I make now.
Why won't you just stay? I just need you to stay. Come around and just stay. Please don't.
Now, it's crazy to listen to the difference in that, but it's natural because there's a progression that happens. The more that you make music, the more hours that you put in, the more time that you dedicate to your craft, the better you'll get. Like, there are no shortcuts when it comes to progressing your career, when it comes to getting better at making music, and even getting from the point of your bedroom to a studio that you own yourself. There's no shortcuts. You have to put in the hours, you have to put in the work, the blood, sweat, and the tears. Clearly, I started out, at the time I thought it was real hot, you know, but whatever stage you're at in your music production, you can get to a higher level too. When you put in all that hard work and all those hours towards your craft, you will get somewhere. Let's go see my first job that I ever had. I haven't been there since 2012.
I ain't tripping, no. I thought you had to know.
All right, it's a little embarrassing filming out here. Anyway, that's beside the point. So this right here was my very first job at Old Navy. I worked here from 2008 to 2012, unloading the trucks, merchandising, dealing with really stupid customers who boss you around like you're a slave. It was here where I basically started saving money for my very first MacBook that I would eventually buy, which was the PowerBook G4. It was a very old MacBook, even at the time. Not the best. Actually, it had a cracked screen, and I got it for like 150 bucks on eBay, and I would eventually buy like a new glass screen replacement and fix it myself, and that way it was my first step into an Apple product. And from that computer is where I basically started learning how to use GarageBand. Nothing screams struggling musician like having two jobs and then working music on the side to earn an income for yourself to be able to save for your equipment. So I was working two jobs at the time here at Old Navy, and then also with my mom and my brother at an office. And that started to become a little bit too much. So then that's when I quit Old Navy. I think, like all of us, that's kind of like an experience that we need. I won't say need, but it is an experience that a lot of us have. It wasn't a glamorous time, but I feel like with all musicians, when we work something like this, it really inspires us to do the most that we can to make our dreams happen. So I was just inspired to really get my grind on, and that's when I started, going to different shows to audition. American Idol, I did The Voice, America's Got Talent, Fun experience, but also it was very scarring. And after the last time that I got denied, I basically told myself, this is not the journey for me. I'm supposed to be doing something else. Between 2010 and 2017, I was performing a lot. And by a lot, it wasn't that much, but for me, it was a lot. And I actually landed a few headlining shows. One was downtown in San Diego's Onyx Room. And then one was opening up for Layla Hathaway at the Music Box, also in downtown San Diego. Two of my biggest shows. One of them didn't go so well because there were some issues with, getting paid and stuff, and we didn't even make any money that night.
I'll tell y'all the exact amount that he owes $662.
He got the math and everything. We were supposed to perform for 30 minutes. They cut us. But, that's what happens sometimes when you're in this career path. And so I actually started driving trucks cross country for about a year and a half. And it was while I was on this truck where I started or really built this YouTube channel. In fact, I can show you a picture of what my studio setup used to look like. I would take my laptop and use the steering wheel of the truck as my desk. That's where I would put my laptop. And then on the armrest of the chair, that's where I would put the keyboard. And I would sit there and produce music from the confines of that truck for this YouTube channel. And again, it wasn't the best setup. It wasn't the most glamorous of times, but the drive that was there, the need and the want to continue to create and pursue my music was there because I was doing this other thing, which, not gonna lie, I was earning some good money, but I needed to make music. It was funny because when I got off the truck, I had this really successful business, but then people started stealing my products. They started stealing my advertisements, other companies. They would run ads to their version of the products, and I blew through my entire savings trying to keep this business afloat. So because I wanted to keep running the channel and I wanted to stay self-employed, I started driving for Grubhub and DoorDash.
We're getting a lot of orders.
It was okay, you know, it wasn't something that was like super exciting. It was delivering food to people, but I was making money. I was making enough to pay my bills, and I was making enough to still earn some money to set aside so that I could travel every now and then, and also so that I could buy, you know, incremental upgrades to my equipment. I spent, I think, like 4 years sleeping on a couch in my bedroom because I got rid of my bed, and I was making content out of the confines of my bedroom until I started buying equipment like this light right here. The desk was taking up most of the space in my room, and I realized I needed to get a bigger space, and that's where this came in. Because I knew of this space and my dad manages this space, my dad said, hey, let's put up a wall and you can have your own little studio space here. You can rent it out. And so that's exactly what we did, and that's where the studio build series came into play. And finally, at the end of 2020, Legends Only was born and it was completed. I just wanted to invest into my craft, and I knew at some point to grow, to continue to grow, I had to spend money. I know a lot of people, when they're starting out their music, you know, obviously you don't have money to spend, or maybe you're just now getting a job and things like that, and you don't quite know how you're gonna get there. But the whole thing is to be financially responsible, pay all your bills on time, get yourself a little credit card, build your credit up. After some years, you'll start to get credit limit increases on those cards, which are gonna allow you to buy more expensive things, or I should say finance more expensive things. Now, this video is not really supposed to be about the equipment itself, but just about the growth and the path that I took, and how I came from an old rusty Dell computer with cobwebs on it and viruses because we downloaded everything off of LimeWire that you could possibly imagine, ruining my mom's computer at that, to a studio of my own with all the equipment that I wanted back in the day that I never thought I would have. And obviously along the way, I've improved my skills, not necessarily because of the equipment that I bought, but I'm not gonna lie, it did help. But these were all incremental upgrades that I made over the course of 20 years. It's not like overnight I was just able to buy this stuff. It took me a lot of time saving money, spending money, financing, building my credit up until I can get a space like this. So whatever stage you're at in your life, you know, whether you feel like you're where you want to be or not, or you feel like you're not moving along fast enough and getting to where you want to be, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my story and show you all the places that I've been, all the things that I've done and what I've gone through to get to where I am today. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something from it. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment down below if you feel like there's anything in here that you can relate to yourself, or if you have a story about something that you've gone through and ways that you've pursued your music, even with, you know, all the things that come at you in life. Or maybe drop a comment below saying something about how far you've come. Recognize your achievements and don't be so focused on what you don't have and where you aren't right now, but think about where you started versus where you are now. If there is any difference at all and it's a forward progress, I want you to really focus on that, okay? Thank you guys, I love you, and as always, stay legendary.